Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are on a fantastic Tuesday evening, wherever we are around the world. Hopefully, everyone is good. Hopefully, everyone is well. Hopefully, everyone is still bouncing off that victory against Manchester City over the weekend as well, and the fact that Liverpool are top of everything right now as well. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, it is Newcastle v Liverpool. Very entertaining game throughout the years. So hopefully it is the same for many tomorrow, of course. But again, hopefully it is Liverpool getting 3 points tomorrow. Anyway, that's the hopeful dream, of course, anyway. But let me know how all of you are in the comments. Of course, if you're just watching as well, of course, let me know your guys' thoughts on the repeat as well, if anybody is tuning into that as well. But of course, we're going to, of course, discuss Liverpool v Newcastle. Of course, we'll talk. Of course, we're on a slot, as mentioned in his press conference. We're going to discuss, of course, Newcastle as well. My thoughts on them. Looking from the outside in, of course, I do feel like it has been a very up and down season for them already. So far, of course, we're going to, of course, talk about the run-in as well for Liverpool. And of course, the big topic I think that we're probably going to speak about a lot in the first part of the show is Mo Salah. And the whole rumor of him looking like he's going to be offered a 1-year contract. So we'll get talking a bit about that anyway. But let me know all of you are in the comments, of course. If anybody's tuning into the football as well, I think Leicester are beating West Ham. I think at the moment as well. So I think Palace have just scored as well, haven't they, against Ipswich as well. So again, the fact that football's on Amazon on Tuesday and Wednesdays, I'm all for it. I really, really am. Anyway, but speaking on the football side of things, and of course, Liverpool Newcastle, it is a huge game, of course, for both teams really. Looking at the league table, of course, Newcastle down in 11th. They'll be hoping, of course, to bounce back, of course, losing to West Ham the last time, of course, they were at home, of course, drawing against Palace as well. But I think you look at certain games that again this season for Newcastle, again they've beaten Newcastle. I think again they give City a hard time. I think they end up drawing that game. They battered Arsenal 1-0 in that regard as well, and of course they beat Forest as well this season, so in more recent games. So it's not going to be an easy game against Newcastle. I'm not expecting that whatsoever. I think again, Newcastle away certainly it is a tough place to go. And I think 100% is going to be a very hard task for Arne Slot's Reds to go tomorrow, especially, again, Newcastle away, then the Merseyside derby first thing Saturday as well. So, again, a very, very tough period for Liverpool. But I think overall, again, it's one of the most entertaining games in the Premier League history. I think it is the top goal scoring game, I think, in the Premier League. Got to double check on that myself, but I believe it is anyway. But big up Hero as well, saying Newcastle always used to consist of Geordie fans without tops on in the coldest weather. Do you think this trend will continue tomorrow? Probably. Of course, it is December, isn't it? So, look, who knows what could happen anyway. But of course, one thing that we do want to talk about, and I think the big conversation around at the moment, of course, certainly concerning Liverpool, is Mohamed Salah and his contract situation. Now, of course, yesterday of time of recording this, of course, The Athletic did come out and, of course, had an article piece on Mohamed Salah. Of course, I think it was Simon Hughes, of course, Merseyside correspondent, in terms of, again, his article piece. It was, and of course, he did speak on Mo Salah and his new deal. I think as well he's also brought out a new book concerning Mo as well. But of course, this was what he had to say in terms of his piece yesterday, and saying, breaking, Mohamed Salah would accept a new 1-year contract at Liverpool, but is growing increasingly in I keep forgetting this word. I keep expatriating at the club's handling of negotiations. He did also go on to say that Mo Salah is still waiting for Liverpool to reveal its position in relation to the length and terms of any potential deal, aimed interest from top European clubs in signing him on a free transfer at the end of the season. It does also go on to say that Salah believes he is approaching his peak and will maintain his level. He is desperate to win the Premier League and Champions League with Liverpool this season. And of course, that has opened up the debate in terms of, once again, with Mohamed Salah, why haven't Liverpool offered him a new deal? Is it just the fact that they are weighing up options at the minute in terms of, again, Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mo Salah, three of probably the biggest players at the football club at the present moment in time? The fact that all of their contracts are now running out. And certainly, I think when you look towards Mo Salah, I think Liverpool, in some ideal world, they thought Mo Salah would decline a little bit more. Not in terms of, again, the goals and assists, but I think, again, the fact he's 32, this is like again, they've thought that's going to happen. But realistically, Mo Salah's getting better with each year, which, look, he is superhuman, and when you look at his statistics already so far this season, they're by far better than any player in the Premier League so far. I think overall, Mo Salah is playing at such a high and exceptional level. He could easily go on to, another 2-3 years at this level. And I think, he has spoken about it himself, about, mentally being like a Messi or Ronaldo in terms of going into their latter years of their career and going on to, maintain that level in Europe, especially where, again, they're being consistently amazing. Messi, of course, Ronaldo has done it throughout the years. Mo Salah now, he's, 32. He could easily go for another 3 years at the top level, in my opinion. Does the club have the same opinion as that? I'm not so sure. Look, they should do, because, and I've seen plenty of people have their own opinions as well, and saying, like, look, if this new Mo Salah deal costs you 50 million a year, can you replace Mo Salah, the quality, I should say, of Mo Salah right here, right now, for 50 million pounds? No, you can't. You simply can't. And I think, for me, on a sports level, it makes 1,000 times sense to get him a new deal. And I don't know if I'm alone in that as well. I think it makes perfect sense for Mo Salah to get a new contract at the football club, because, again, he's shown no signs of decline. I know plenty of people have drawn the comparison, of course, to when Liverpool offered Jordan Henderson a new deal. I think the difference is between Jordan Henderson and Mo Salah. I think everyone at that time saw Jordan Henderson's career, maybe, again, we all thought Jordan Henderson would be taking more of a backseat. Again, would be an important part of the team, but also would be more appearing on the bench instead of being a main starter. That wasn't the case. Of course, Liverpool thought at the time that Jordan Henderson could continue in that midfield role. Of course, we found out the season after that, of course, he couldn't do that. And I think they're looking on that comparison. Also, I think, in terms of money, that for me is the only other reason why I personally think Liverpool can't get Mohamed Salah. Have FSG reached their limit in terms of what they can offer Mo Salah? I think that's a very feasible, topic and conversation to have. Have they given everything to Mo Salah that they can possibly offer? Who knows? Because let's be perfectly honest, Mo Salah can walk into every single team in Europe and possibly get a lot more than what he's having at Liverpool. He can, but the difference is Mo Salah does not want to leave. The article pieces, and what everyone else is saying, everybody understands, and I don't know whether or not if everyone's also in agreement. Mo Salah does not want to leave Liverpool. This is not an Emre Can type deal. This isn't, any other type of deal like that. Mo Salah wants to stay at Liverpool, and at the minute, he's currently on his way to go on to win the Premier League. If Liverpool do end up doing it, if he does, if Liverpool do win the Premier League, I think Mo Salah will win the PFA Player of the Year. And look, no player has won 3 PFA Player of the Years. For me, Mo Salah is then putting himself into that conversation of, he is one of the best in the Premier League, maybe the best we've ever seen in the Premier League for what he does. And the fact that they are going to turn around and go, yeah, maybe we're going to let the best player leave. Again, there will be uproar if Mo Salah leaves, and it comes out that Liverpool haven't thrown everything at him, because look, he wants to stay. There is nothing right now logically saying that Mo Salah won't resign. And I think everyone else is in agreement of that. The only other thing is that FSG have told Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, this is the limit we have. We can't go over it. And if that's the case, then there needs to be conversations more in that direction, more than, again, anybody saying anything towards Mo Salah, because we know Mo Salah wants to stay. We know he wants to be at the club for another 2-3 years. But the club themselves need to meet him halfway, in this negotiations, and make sure, again, they're doing everything possible they can do. Because look, Mo Salah is one of the best players in Europe, if not the best on current form. And I think, like he has said over the years, he can definitely go on to be the superstar that everyone will remember for years to come. He's already that now, but the legacy he will leave by continuing what he's doing at Liverpool. Like if Liverpool go on to win another, if we go on to win the league this season, if we go on to then go back to back, and Mo Salah's having another phenomenal year, again, that's brilliant. But the fact that at the moment he's even happy to get a 1-year deal, I think goes to show how desperate Mo Salah is to stay at Liverpool. I really do believe that as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts, of course, in the comments, because I think it is a very interesting topic. Of course, the contract situations are coming, thick and fast now, because again, at the end of the month, they can, Trent, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, they can speak to European teams, and that is frightening. I think for a lot of Liverpool supporters, I think everybody is in the same idea of, we don't want these players speaking to a Real Madrid, a Barcelona. You could just imagine Barcelona licking their lips at thinking and having the possible idea of Mo Salah being on a free. That they'd absolutely love, wouldn't they? So I think, look, Liverpool need to get these done ASAP, and the next month for me will be crucial for that. And I think if hopefully we hear some positive news over the next couple of weeks, but if we don't, then I do think that is concerning for all three players, not just Mo Salah, but I think for Mo Salah especially, he wants to stay, make it happen, Liverpool as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments as well, for you guys, in the comments down below. He's definitely got a few more years in him, says Hero. Yeah, I would 100% agree. I think he does as well. I trust in the guys at the top to make the right decisions. Just look at what they did with the manager vacancy. True, that is very true. But like I just said, I think you have to give Mo wherever he wants. I think he is currently the best player in the world, on form. For me anyway. I feel like he's the best at the minute in the world. He might have told them, I don't contact me unless it's 400k a week. So we didn't, possibly. I think, for me, I think Mo Salah is very reasonable. Like him coming out and saying and talking again about, him, obviously the Jamie Carragher comments, and him coming out and saying, like, look, I haven't been offered a new deal. I want to stay, but at the minute it feels like I'm going to leave. Like after the Man City game, him turning around and going, this is probably my last game against Manchester City at Anfield. And when you read that, when you hear him saying it as well, you don't want it to be true, because I think for a lot of us, we saw how much of a burden it was last season on Jurgen and the squad when he announced, that he was going to be leaving. And of course, I think Jurgen Klopp announced that at the right time. He announced it early. He allowed the club to do the due diligence in terms of going out and getting the right manager, in Arne Slot. Of course, they could have definitely, Jurgen could have left it right until the end of the season and then said, yep, you know what, guys, I'm off. I'm going to leave Liverpool at the end of the season, and that would give them such a short window. Of course, we might have gone on to get Arne Slot, but he allowed Liverpool, he allowed, Mike Gordon, he allowed everyone to have, the opportunity to go and get, the next guy for Liverpool. And I feel like Mo, where we are at the minute, not just Mo, I think Mo, Virgil, Trent as well. I feel like we are, of course, we're running out of time in terms of, again, getting them signed before they can speak to European clubs. But I also feel like it could be a burden for Liverpool come the end of the season if we are in a title race and one result goes badly and everybody then starts talking about the contract situation and will they offer him a new deal? Will they? Won't they? Like even last year at some point, we were speaking about Joel Matip and Thiago Alcantara maybe getting new deals. And of course, that never happened. They both retired from football. But like, just from those two contracts alone, you could probably tie down Virgil van Dijk and one of Trent or Salah. From Joel Matip's contract going and obviously Thiago leaving the football club as well. You could possibly go on to re-sign two of the three just from that alone. And then whatever else you have then could easily go and get, Mo Salah, for example, as well. But I think overall, Liverpool have to do everything. For me, anyway, they have to do everything to get all three done. Because if they don't do that, that's a problem. But Mo saying Anfield feels like home, says it all. He doesn't want to leave, so the club needs to find a way to keep him where he belongs. 100%. Damo as well. Big up Damo as well. We're doing well. 100%. I think Mo Salah, I think for a lot of people, including myself, it is a club legend. One of the best to ever play for Liverpool. And I think right now, if the club don't offer him what he wants, or at least have a conversation with him, because of course there is discussions going on. Mo saying he hasn't spoken to the board, or his representatives haven't spoken to the board. That's not true. Again, you would think Mo Salah has spoken to, his agent has spoken to higher ups, but again, they have to meet in the middle, ASAP, really. But big up Ozan as well, who's doing well. Says big 2 away matches ahead, Newcastle and the Bitters as well. Yeah, Bitter Blue Shites as well. Ozan as well. But yeah, 100%. I'm very much looking forward to this week. Because look, it is a tough road to go. The fact that if Liverpool, we've had such an amazing week in terms of, again, beating Real Madrid, beating Manchester City, obviously both at home. But, the running that we do have now coming up, I think this will be telling to Liverpool's title hopes in terms of, again, look, I said it after the City game, for me, Liverpool are the favourites for the title. There we are. And I don't think that's now, I think some people before maybe, the City game would have said maybe that's a bit arrogant in terms of saying, oh, Liverpool are favourites of the title, this, that, and the other. But I genuinely think Liverpool are favourites of the title. Everything is saying that Liverpool are the favourites of the title. But I think looking at the next couple of games, Newcastle away, Everton away, Girona obviously in the Champions League, Fulham at home, Spurs away, Leicester then on Boxing Day. Like, this run-in will be the telling, because over the years we've dropped points, unnecessary points, I would say, to lower half teams or teams that are like 10th and below. This is like the run-in now where you look at it and go, yeah, these are the games where you make sure you're champions. Because if Liverpool do the basics or match the results that we got from last season, Liverpool at the moment will go on to win the Premier League. And that is what everyone at Liverpool cares about. We want to win the Premier League. We want to get that over the line. And for me, that is the most important thing as well anyway. But overall, look, I don't get how we do it. I'm hoping we do it anyway. But big up Geordie as well, saying, how are the lads? Hopefully doing well, mate. Saying tough game tomorrow. We've got a tough game, mate. I hope to see you all tomorrow as well. Hopefully, as well, Geordie. Hopefully, of course, for us, hopefully you're on the losing side. Of course, meant with the utmost respect, but of course, luck. And speaking of Newcastle, to be fair, Geordie, if you are still in the chat as well, I want to know your guys. I want to know your thoughts in terms of Newcastle, because I've put it there, Newcastle up and down season, and I think Newcastle have had a very weird season. Like, again, like I said, you've beaten Arsenal, you beat Chelsea, you I think you drew against City, but then you've lost. I don't know. I watched the West Ham game, and there was just nothing there. There was no creativity. Like, I know that you tried. I think you tried like 3 or 4 different systems, didn't you, Eddie Howe? Certainly in that West Ham game, and nothing come off. And it felt like they sat back in that game and counter-attacked. Fully counter-attacked Newcastle in that sense. And I feel like Liverpool, again, we saw it kind of against City where, we sat back, certainly in our second half, City had more of the ball. But every time Liverpool had that ball, we completely, battered City. And I wonder whether or not Newcastle will be the same. I know, of course, in terms of team news, Alexander Isak, I think, has declared himself fit. Of course, Anthony Gordon, which, we spoke about all summer long, didn't we, as Liverpool supporters. He, again, has been playing on the right, with Harvey Barnes playing on the left. I thought that's been interesting for Newcastle this season. And, of course, the midfield as well. I think the midfield, yet again, is going to be a huge battle, because, again, they've got, you look at Newcastle's midfield. Again, they've got, they've got Tonali in there as well. Joe Willock, of course, Longstaff. Of course, for us, obviously, Szoboszlai, Jones, Maka, Gravenberch, that's going to be an interesting tale as well. But as Jordy said there, we are literally Spurs 2.0, beating Arsenal, Chelsea, and drew with City, and now lost to West Ham and dropped points to Palace. And yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, I look at, and of course, Jordy, if you're still in the chat as well, let me know. But I feel like for what the Newcastle owners wanted, or the thought process of, pretty much Newcastle, they wanted to be a team that maintained their spot in the Champions League. And of course, no European football this season. I think, for me, I expected Newcastle to be around 5th, 6th this season due to them not having Champions League football or any European football in that aspect of things. But I feel like I've only watched 2 games of Newcastle this season, and that was Arsenal and West Ham. And of course, like you say there, against Arsenal, brilliant. I thought Newcastle deserved to beat Arsenal, more than 1-0. But against West Ham, it was awful, pretty bad. And is, the question, I think, for Newcastle supporters, and if any Newcastle fans watching this, of course, let me know. But I wonder whether or not Eddie Howe has taken Newcastle as far as he can, if that makes sense. Like, look, Newcastle are never going to get relegated under Eddie Howe. They're not. But I feel like where the club wants to be, they want to be more in a European, more, again, you want to be challenging for Champions League. You basically want to be that 5th team who possibly could get into the Champions League. But again, Europa League is there or thereabouts. I do think, though, Newcastle should be that. Again, they've got Anthony Gordon, they've got Alexander Isak. They should be that. But I feel like Eddie Howe, for me, has taken Newcastle as far as he can. And I don't know whether anybody else would agree with that. I know other people might have different points of view on it. But I also think then, though, who do you possibly bring in at Newcastle? And is there anybody on the market right now that Newcastle could convince to leave? And of course, go on to, upgrade Newcastle in that sense. The only guy in my mind, as I've just seen the chat in terms of Shorty saying Mourinho in if Howe gets sacked, the only guy in my mind who could upgrade or instantly upgrade Newcastle would be Julian Nagelsmann. and I don't know whether or not if that's a rogue shout, but could could they get Julian Nagelsmann? 100% they could. You look at the Premier League and you look at the current state of managers in there. Of course, could he get into of course, the top clubs? Of course he could. I think United very much wanted Nagelsmann a year ago. I think, of course, he was in the Liverpool search for a little bit before Liverpool ruled him out. But I think overall, could Newcastle get Julian Nagelsmann? 100% they could. But whether or not, again, obviously due to PSR, could they do that as well? Who knows with that as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments as well, because I know there's currently a debate going on about Ten Hag as well. But Hero says, can't wait to hear the Christmas song at Goodison. It's going to be a festive chant as well. Well, to be fair, look, I still don't get why there's a Merseyside derby on at 12:30 on Saturday. Should be 4:30 or a late one on Saturday. Should be anyway, but I don't get why it's early. I don't know why it's by TNT. But it looks like Maka will be missing as well, Con. No, I don't think he should be. I know you've gone for Girona due to suspension. Is Maka's not suspended? It might be for the Champions League, but Premier League, he's still one yellow card away. So maybe we might see Curtis Jones playing alongside Ryan Gravenberch for that game as well, for the Newcastle game, sorry. Possibly, but I'm not too sure. But big up Brun as well. So how many points do you think we'll score? How many points do you think we'll score in the next 8 games? Crystal ball, anyone as well. How many points do I think we'll get? Let's go through the 8. Are you on about the next 8 league games run? Because I want to. If you're on about Champions League, I think we won. We win the Champions League games anyway. But let's have a look. Next 8 Premier League games. Did he say 8? Yeah, next 8. So Newcastle, I think we win. I think we beat Everton. I think we beat Fulham. Maybe a draw away to Spurs, because I'm thinking about it now. Like, obviously we lost to Spurs last year. Obviously the 9 men, and obviously having a goal legally again disallowed when it should have been given. But let's say draw Spurs. Leicester at home, I think we'll win. West Ham away, I think we'll win. And then Man United at home, I think we win. I do believe that. So pretty much what's that? 3, 6, 9, 10, 13, 16, 19 points. I think we get out the next 6 or next 8, sorry. Yeah, I think we do that. I would be like, again, I've already said this. I only see us now losing at Man City away. And I've said that at the start of the season as well. Like, Man City away, like, again, you always not expect to lose, but looking at Liverpool's record at the Etihad, again, it's not the best. But again, we didn't expect to lose to Forest, so you never know. But of course, I expect to beat Newcastle tomorrow. I really do. Mourinho, if Howe gets sacked, would Newcastle ever bring in Eric Ten Hag? Connor, to be fair, I think he's going to go to RB Leipzig. I'm trying to think. Could Ten Hag ever get a Premier League job now? I don't think he can, from me anyway. Please no Ten Hag, mate, as well. Jesus Christ. Nagelsmann's a good shout, as well as Geordie as well. But I do think it's, Newcastle for me are one of these teams that, again, I think everybody thinks Newcastle as a top team. I certainly do. Are they, they're they're not, of course, the biggest, the best in that region is Sunderland, but, kidding, that's going to infuriate a couple of people. But I think overall, like that's where Newcastle want to be. They want to be fifth, sixth, somewhere around there. Of course, they want to be pushing a lot more, but I think obviously PSR is a huge problem for them as well. But of course, obviously moving away from Newcastle, obviously speaking more on Liverpool side of things. Of course, Arne Slot did confirm that Federico Chiesa's back as well, so he's probably going to be involved in the squad tomorrow. Of course, no Diogo Jota still. Ali looks to be the end of December now. He'll be back fully. I think he's already spoken about how he views his number one goalkeeper, which he has said it plenty of times in press conferences that his number one is Alisson Becker. Which look, on Kelleher it feels a bit hard done by because again of how good he's actually been this season. But again, there was nothing more in the press conference apart from, of course, Arne Slot making a joke about the 115 charges for Man City, which of course rattled a few City supporters. Anyway, but for me, anyway, going on to starting 11 predictions for the weekend, I've actually gone the same as I predicted for City. I've gone Keller in goal. I think it'd be Trent for Trent right back, Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones. I did go Jones against City. Of course, we won with Szoboszlai. I think Curtis Jones will come back in for Szoboszlai. I think Szoboszlai will come on second half, hopefully. And then, front three, the same. I say the same. It wasn't the same as the weekend, but I think Núñez will come back in. Obviously, we all know what happened last season at St. Darwin's Park. I'm just going to leave that there because Darwin Núñez always has a banging game against Newcastle away. So, look, long may that continue as well. But, yeah, that's for me, my team. Of course, Salah, Núñez, Diaz. Of course, hard done by Gakpo because I think Gakpo obviously scoring the goal on the weekend should once again, be involved in the team or in the starting 11. But of course, I think Lucho is pretty much undroppable at the present moment in time. But look, I think either way, the front line, again, anybody in there, I think we're confident with, aren't we, realistically? But who in Newcastle do we need to watch out for tomorrow night, Con? Obviously, Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon, they are the main two. I think Joe Willock as well in the midfield. I think he's been very much underrated. I think if you look at his stats wise, I think if you look at metrics wise, Gini Wijnaldum-esque. But to be fair, it would be interesting to see anyway. I think Isak is out. He's fit. Isak is. So I was also going to put this, but then on the Premier League injury website, it says he's a doubt, but then he went on, I think it was a Swedish TV, and was like, "No, I'm fit. I'm playing against Liverpool." So we'll take the man at his word. We'll wait and see. But again, Isak I think is fit anyway. But big up Cals, will hope he's doing well. But we will have to wait and see, of course. But I think overall, either him, Anthony Gordon will be a threat on the right or on the left. I think they'll try and play him on the left, because again, trying to go up against Trent. Of course, if he's playing on the right, he's going to square up against Robbo. But I think overall, if Isak is out, again, that will be a bonus for Liverpool, really, because he always seems to have a good game against us. Does Alexander Isak. So I think, look, if he is out tomorrow, then again, I'm glad he's not going to play against Liverpool, if that is the case. But I'm going with 4-1 win tomorrow as well, says Cal. For me, for score predictions, and of course, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. For me, I'm going to go 2-0. Again, I think Liverpool... Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1. I think away from home, again, it will be tough, but I think we will score 3 and hopefully, get the win tomorrow. Goal scorers, I think Mo Salah is going to grab 1. I think Darwin Núñez will get 2. I think Darwin Núñez will get 2 goals against Newcastle tomorrow. Anyway, but I think we dominate, but actually take our chances this time. Hopefully, that is hopefully the case. Unlike what it was against City, where again, looking back at that game, I watched it back, extended highlights back yesterday morning, and how on earth Liverpool were not 4-0 up in the first 10 minutes, again, would be, I don't get that. But again, similar story to last season, where we didn't take our chances. I think if we've, because that's the thing as well, when we're talking about the league title and how many chances Liverpool created last season and didn't finish, like certainly towards the back end of the season, we didn't score barely any goals, towards the back end of last season because we were creating so much and not finishing them. Like that Palace game, like I think our XG was like, I think like 5 or like 5 point something, and we didn't score a goal. And I think our overall XG, I think for a good 3 or 4 game period, was ridiculous. I think it was like 15 XG that we had, and we didn't score, once, and that's ridiculous. But I'm gonna go with a bumble, a bump, 4-3, 4-3. Wow, I was on. Entertaining as it would be, I don't want that. I really don't want that. But hopefully, look, if it is a boring 1-0, I'll take that more than anything. But again, it is going to be a tough game against Newcastle. It always is, away to them as well. But look, hopefully, it will be a good game for Liverpool anyway, and a bad game for Newcastle. Sorry, Geordie, but hopefully that will be the case anyway. But I am going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Big thank you for everyone for tuning in as well. Of course, tomorrow will be post-match. Of course, it will be straight after the game. So again, obviously kickoff tomorrow is 7:30. It is on Amazon Prime. So again, if anybody is wondering what channel it's on Amazon Prime. Because I believe Liverpool, Newcastle are on a 7:30. I think Man United and Arsenal are on a 8:15. I think it is tomorrow. So again, good game. Unfortunately, Liverpool, be honest, we won't be watching it. But look, the fact that we can actually watch football that other things is good in that sense as well. But of course, again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Of course, everything we've mentioned in tonight's episode, of course, as well. And yeah, overall, let me know your guys' thoughts. Of course, in Liverpool, Newcastle, I'm looking forward to it. Again, if Liverpool can extend, imagine if Liverpool beat Newcastle and Arsenal drop points to of course, Manchester United. That would be 12 points. That would be ahead of them. Like that would be the most ironic thing, I think, going would be Liverpool would win, Arsenal lose, Man City beat Nottingham Forest, and Man City are over Arsenal. But apparently Arsenal are our biggest title rivals, supposedly. But yeah, we'll leave that for another episode anyway. But again, if you have enjoyed it, please hit a like button, hit the subscribe button as well before you do shoot off, and of course hit the share button. Get as many Reds in you or many football fans in you as possible. Of course, we are still on the road to 2K in that sense, but again, let me know your guys' thoughts on everything that we have talked about in tonight's episode anyway. But until next time, I will see you guys tomorrow for the post-match. I have been Connor from the COP Council. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ta-ra.